It was progress.
All right, let's call this meeting to order at 7 a.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m.
I knew it was a long day.
All right. Emil, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please rise. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next, agenda review. No, okay. Special presentation, superintendent report.
Yeah, good evening, board. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see so many people out. As I do before all of our meetings with schools in session, I wanted to take just a minute and highlight some of the things that have been taking place in our district over the past few weeks. I want to start out, this is a while ago, and it's actually before our last meeting, but I didn't do a presentation. But if you haven't seen our Harvest Grove principal, Angela Mullen, out and about, you haven't been out and about because she's been just about everywhere. So she's had a booth at the Brentwood Farmers Market. Here she is with Mr. and Mrs. McNamara, two teachers from Harvest Grove, and just spreading the word about this program and its availability for students in our area. So thank you to Angela and to the two McNamaras for that. Also want to thank Trevor, Angela, and Ismail for helping out Brentwood Elementary and painting some of the pillars out there and getting some community service hours from Liberty. I'm going to say a lot of thank yous today because there's a lot of people and organizations in the community that are supporting our school district. So here's the Rock Church, who has been partnering with Marsh Creek Elementary. They gave 105 bags of school supplies to them. And so Mr. Hoshin and Mrs. DiAlfonsi went out and delivered some of those bags to students that were new to the school. Also, before school, we have a lot of things that happen before the students ever get here. So this is Ms. St. Pierre, who's one of our teachers at Bristow, organizing the web students. And these are the Where Everybody Belongs students, and help them to welcome the new students on campus. So helping them prepare. So this is before school started. And again, same program. There's an extra B at Edna Hill. So we'll have a quiz at the end of why there's an extra B. And so same idea in welcoming those students there. We also have a brand new school out there, and this is Principal Danielle Dobbin, who's out there getting ready to welcome new families on campus, training 38 fourth and fifth graders on how to give tours and show people around their brand new campus. And so, and those students are also going to help us when we have the dedication on the 25th of September, and also give tours to the people that come to that as well. So a little preview of that. We had a wonderful professional development day for our certificated staff on the 27th of July. And so we had presentations from some of our partners at Conscious Classroom Management, J6 Consultants, and the Canizales Group, who came out and had two different groups between elementary and middle that took place at Edna Hill and Bristow. So thank you to them and for all the work that went into putting those together. Lots of parents clubs supporting our school districts as well. This is the Pioneer Parents Club, who at the beginning of the year donated $18,000 to the teachers that were there to help them get started with the year. So thank you for them for all their hard work. And then I love first day of school pictures. So here's some going through as you go through, and I can't get all of them. I did have the distinct pleasure of going out with Mr. Ike Montañez to the opening of his school and walking around with him. And so I'm not sure that people even knew that I was there. I was the guy holding the camera to take pictures of people with him. It was fun. We ran into former students whose kids and grandkids are now there, and they had Ike as a principal, as a teacher, as a leader. So that was a really fun thing to be able to do. Harvest Grove had their first day of school meet and greet out there with friends to get to know family. Lots of here you can see some at Adams on the first day of school. So just lots of joy out there. Here's the Brentwood Elementary English Learner Advisory Committee welcoming families and trying to get families to sign up and join that group that does such important work in their school. And then also Dr. Paul Cray 90 years young, out at Cray Elementary, greeting students like he has for the last 22 or 23 years. So that was great to see. I think Brian's been there just about as long. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So anyway, also another partner, Operation Backpack, out there donating backpacks in Loma Vista School. Adams Middle School has this sort of welcome week where they try to build positive culture within their schools. I love this. They did an annual dress code fashion show of what not to wear. And so you'll see them out there, and you can see Mrs. Wheeler and Mr. Smith, their vice principals, leading that activity, and lots of teachers joining in the fun there as well, keeping middle schoolers' attention. Again, more people to thank. Here's the Brentwood Neighborhood Church, the church right next to Edna Hill Middle School, who's had a long partnership, also donating school supplies and backpacks for the students there. And then the Mothers of Brentwood that have been partners with us for many, many, many years, who also supply backpacks that we use throughout our school district and for students that need them. So thank you to them for their support. A lot of focus on attendance this year and getting our attendance up. So here's Ron Nunn, Ms. Galbraith, Ms. Fulton, Ms. Bryant were the first winners out there, their classes, and working through that. So trophies to brag about. So congratulations to them. Also, our schools are doing lots of activities to bring families together, to bring them off, to build relationships in the beginning of the year. So this is the Marsh Creek Back to School picnic that you can see. And reminder that we're celebrating Marsh Creek's 20th year this year. So, and thank you to the Brentwood Rotary who was out there cooking hot dogs for them as well. We've had a long partnership also with, this is Barbara, and she represents the Delta Community Services Group, and they're out of Trilogy, and they raise money each year. They've given Chromebooks to students. This year, they're helping students attend science camp, so we want to thank them for their generous donation there. And then I thought this was a fun challenge that Mrs. Bartling did. You'll see that in my slides, I tend to go to challenges with food if you want to get in, so that I'm hungry, I think, when I put them together. But this is sort of Pringle-shaped tips and trying to make a ring all the way around using just the Pringles. And you can see that one group did that there. So very nice job. Also, the HSS also donated some backpacks and school supplies for students that we can use across. So we're just so fortunate to have so many community members that really want to reach out and support our students. So on top of getting their classrooms ready and doing all the work that it takes to get school started and work with students, we also have back to school night right in the beginning of the year. So lots of teachers putting in long hours to get those classrooms ready and build strong partnerships with parents. So you can see Mrs. Nares and Mrs. Truesdale welcoming families at Edna Hill for their night. See sort of the first back to school night at Isaac Montanez Elementary, and well attended out there. This is a real special acknowledgement here. CJ Nicholas was a student at Adams Middle School, and you can see that they pulled out his yearbook page, which says most likely to be an Olympian. And on August 9th, he was in the bronze medal Taekwondo match at the Olympics in Paris. And so he did, yeah. So we're very proud of him, and congratulations on all that. This is Miss Odabella's science class out there working on Newton's law about acceleration. They had golf balls and yardsticks. It was fun to watch them trying to work through and solve those problems. So a shout out to Miss Odabella for her hard work. And then again, last night I got the chance to go by Bristow's back to school night. Really well attended. Great job by the teachers in welcoming families in. You know, middle school is a fast-paced night of 7 minutes per classroom and trying to get all that out. And then finally, I want to say today is Ike Montanez is happy as it's his 88th birthday. So if you see him, tell him happy birthday. And that is my report for this evening, board.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Eaton. All right. Next, we have public comments. Are there any public comment cards? Yes. There's more than.
That we open public comment.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, remarks are limited to 3 minutes per person while we encourage your comments. Unfortunately, state law prevents us from discussing items that are not on our meeting agenda. Public comments can be made at this time or during the appropriate agenda item. We do take them very seriously, and if appropriate, staff will follow up. All right, so the first person is Heather Jeffrey.
I have to say good morning, good evening. My name is Heather Jeffrey, and I probably won't finish everything I want to say in 3 minutes, but I will get started. So I've worked in the Brentwood School District for this is my 24th year, and currently I'm at Bristow Middle School. My goal in talking to you is I would like our district to have better safety and also better follow through. I know that my name can be associated with what happened last year at Bristow, and our staff and our students in our community went through a lot. What I want is specifically, I'm going to talk about our board. I'm going to ask for you guys to hold some people accountable. And the person I'm asking you to hold accountable is Chris Calabrese. Chris told me that many times, on many occasions, that he would do an investigation on what happened last year. And I did have one board member that reached out to me who's not here tonight. I did not hear from any other board members. That trauma last year, it still is unresolved with our students and our staff and our community. I've offered numerous times with Mr. Calabrese to be a part of safety in the district, to do better. And I've also asked, what really happened last year? He has said he would get me results and he would tell me what happened. And I understand now you guys have lawyers involved. I just want honest answers. I need to heal. I still struggle every day. Anna Morales is my rock. Anna gets me through every day. And the district really gave me promises that they didn't follow through with. I do have much more I would like to say, but the board is welcome. I would love to meet with the board and reach out with the board, but I'm here to make things better. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next person is Susie Redmond, Brentwood Elementary third grade team.
Good evening, BUSD Board of Education and Administration. Were you aware that the third grade teachers at Brentwood Elementary were told today that their 6 third grade classes are being collapsed into 5 classes starting next week, the 4th week of school, and that displaced third grade teacher is expected to take over a vacant 5th grade classroom that has been taught by subs since the start of the school year? This 5th grade opening was created because the district pulled a Brentwood L teacher to be the interim vice principal at Bristow the week before school started. Instead of hiring a new teacher for that 5th grade, the district has chosen to collapse a 3rd grade class into the other 3rd grades to save money, and a 3rd grade teacher will have to move to the 5th grade next week. This was presented to us as a decision to save money in a, quote, budget cut year. The current staffing and student enrollment were already known at the end of last year, as was the open VP position at Bristow. The 6 3rd grade classes in the current 5th grade opening were all part of the budget for the 24-25 school year. It was known in May that our 3rd grades would not be at full capacity. Why wasn't this decision made then? Why is it okay to make this decision after the 3rd week of school when routines, procedures, and most importantly, relationships have been established? This contradicts and undermines the BUSD core belief that says, we believe in a student-centered learning environment that embraces the diversity of all learners while educating the whole child academically, socially, emotionally, and physically. and that children come first in all decision-making. This movement will cause emotional unrest for our students, families, and teachers. Over 150 Brentwood L families will be impacted by this decision. By collapsing this third grade, our grade level is now over-enrolled. BUSD also states that they believe in the worth and dignity of each person. However, this teacher is being told that they will end with their third graders next Wednesday, August 22nd, and begin their new grade level immediately the next day. If these decisions had been made in the spring as they should have been, this teacher would have had the option to select from existing openings at the end of the school year. 2 years ago, one of our fifth grade teachers was hired as a VP in another district, but was not released by BUSD because her position was not filled. Why is this being allowed now? It appears that mistakes have been made at the administration level. According to our BTA contract, the fifth grade position must be posted. We hope that this is investigated so it does not happen again. We wonder if this concerns the board as much as it concerns our teachers, families, and most of all our students. Is this a precedent you support? Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Rebecca Zabalos.
Hi, good evening, Board of our BST. As you have heard from my colleagues, it is likely that it is my third grade class that will be dissolved into the other 5 classes since I have the lowest seniority. As the teacher likely being displaced, I am shocked, hurt, and very stressed. I became a teacher to create a safe place and consistent place for my students. My home life was rough as a kid, but I knew when I went to school, my teacher would be there, and most importantly, there would be consistency in the classroom. Now I'm being forced or voluntold to leave my students, and they are being forced to join new classrooms. How can students feel safe when they are looked at as just numbers that can conveniently be moved for budget purposes? How was it okay to leave a substitute in that third grade class and never even post the position for a conditional qualified teacher? I also have 3 kids at home. Aubrey is 7, Brielle is 4, and Carter is 3. I brought them with me for multiple weeks over the summer to prepare for the third grade year. As you mentioned, every school year is like that. You spend weeks, hours, and days preparing for kids to arrive. Now I'm being told to prepare and welcome these fifth graders in a matter of less than a day. To clarify, if this happens, I would be teaching third grade on Wednesday and then teaching fifth grade on Thursday. Contractually, that would be 2.5 hours to move, prepare, and prep for an entirely new grade level. And I expected to work till midnight and let my own 3 kids suffer as well. Had I known last year my position would be dissolved, I would have taken another position at another school or grade level. To be honest, there was a third grade spot at the new school that I considered, but I didn't take it because I wanted that consistency I mentioned. While I've been teaching for 10 years, this is my 2nd year in the Brentwood School District, and thus far, I have been told that I'm worth 1%, and I have learned that my students and teachers come after the bottom of this. My students and the teachers come after the bottom line. Could you just please do the right thing is what I'm asking, and just post that fifth grade position, find a qualified teacher to take that job, and not rob my students of the consistency that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person, Marcela Montez.
Hello, my name is Marcela Montez. I've been a volunteer and an employee at Brentwood Elementary for about 8 years now. I've been a fly on the wall and a voice in the crowd and to a few of these meetings. I've been walked on a bit, and I've allowed it. I've been shuffled around, and I've been expected to say nothing. I've been kind, yet I have also still been proud to be here. But today, I was struck by a different nerve, the nerve of a mother. It was when the news was brought to my attention through an employee email that a third grade class at Brentwood Elementary would be collapsing the 4th week of school. This decision would likely affect my child's classroom. Ms. Zabalos is my son's teacher. My son and the students in that classroom have already developed a wonderful relationship with this teacher. This is something that I know firsthand, having been lucky enough to observe and work with them in my in-field experience hours that I've been working towards obtaining my own teaching credential. Through this experience, I would also like to note that I have additional concerns that I feel, I'm so sorry. I have additional concerns with this careless and insensitive move. It is that the respect of the students who have IEPs and 504s, and for the other teachers that would then have to redistribute the numbers between their already established caseloads, my son included. It is not that he is just another IEP number. He is thriving in his current space, having, in his words, 10 out of 10 days, loving his teacher and her out of their seat approach. I am not saying that he may not have this with his other teachers, but how can they do this to students? The teachers, their families, robbing them of that first day, redoing their supply lists, or just having to redo everything that they've done over the last month. I know there has to be an additional solution than uprooting everything that they've done in this flow so suddenly. I feel so many of the things that we say lately fall on deaf ears. And while I am grateful that I have taught my son how to be flexible and to well adjust, I know that not all students are capable of that. And I really wish that they didn't have to be. At least not in this case. Would your child be able to? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Stacy DeFore.
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. We are very passionate about our students. All of us combined have many years of teaching and dedication to our district. And I just want to point that out, that I know you do too. And we appreciate your service to our community and our students. We hope that you make action tonight. Change this, rectify this, make this right. If this is a money decision, this isn't the right one. This is a situation that's going to affect not only the climate and culture of that one classroom, but the entire school. And we are pretty proud of our school at Brentwood Elementary. According to our contract, this position should have been posted. It should have been made available immediately when that person chose to go on and made permanent over as a VP, and it was not. The only decision that was made was to go to us, to ask us to uproot our students and make change in that way. That's not right. I hope you make change tonight. A lot has been said tonight. I hope you consider this. I also hope that you continue to support us in the way that you have, because that means and trickles down to us at our level, knowing that you support us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other comment cards?
Move that we close public comment?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Consent items, 8.0, consent items.
Board, I'd like to just acknowledge a couple of people that are listed on your personnel transaction report that are here tonight. First of all, we have our principal from Pioneer, and I'd like to ask her to stand up. Her name is Maria Elena Becerra. Maria Elena, this is unusual because she actually started last Monday, but she was a principal in another district. Maria's been a principal for 9 years. She's been a principal at all different levels. She's been a migrant education teacher. She's been a kindergarten teacher, which she'll tell you was her favorite thing to do. And she's been doing a great job getting on her feet there. Maria, you have somebody with you that you'd like to introduce real quick? Thanks for coming, Miguel. Maria Elena, we are thrilled thrilled to have you here. And so I just wanted to introduce you to the group as we go forward. And assuming that this vote goes well, you'll be official. Though if it doesn't go well, we've never had it before where we've had somebody start and then not have you here. So I really don't know what that means. So we'll probably have to stop the meeting and call a lawyer. So we'll go from there. And then second, Anna Perales has somebody with us tonight that we're asking you to hire as well. So Anna, you want to introduce your guest with you tonight?
I have our interim, now not interim, vice principal, Miss Kelly Ayotte, who has been doing an amazing job for us over at Brentwood. We're very happy to have her as the person.
Okay.
Miss Kelly Ayotte.
Yeah. Welcome, Kelly. Kelly's also been doing a fantastic job since the start of the year. And so assuming that passes tonight as part of the consent agenda, they will both be official.
Well, including those two, I move that we approve consent items 8.0 through 8.1.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Next, 9 hearings and appeals.
Congratulations. Yes. So we do have a public hearing tonight, and so the board is asked to open a public hearing for our independent study board policy, administrative regulation, and then if there's anybody wants to speak to it, they can, and then we'll close that public hearing. And then the actual item will be a 10.16 for you.
Move that we open the public hearing on the BUSD Independent Study Board Policy / Administrative Regulation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And
Any comments? Any public comment? Move that we close item 9.0, the public hearing on the BUSD Independent Study Board Policy and Administrative Regulation.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next is a presentation reports. Report out of a closed session.
No reports.
Let's see, 10.1, expulsion of student 06-2024-17.
Move that we accept the stipulated expulsion of student number 06-2024-17.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. 10.2, approval of 2024-2025 budget revisions.
Good evening, Board. Tonight, you're being brought forward some budget revisions from the adopted budget. So as you know, on June 18th, the board approved the 24-25 adopted budget for this fiscal and school year. And then tonight, the district is bringing tentative agreements to the board for 23-24 with the BTA and confidential supervisory, certificated classified management, contracted employees, and CSEA and CLC are in progress. So what is required is that we revise the adopted budget. And this goes through the County Office of Education through a called AB 1200 process. And what they want to confirm is that we can meet our financial obligations for this current year and the 2 out years, just like any other board certification process. And this is based on the collective bargaining agreements and other group tentative agreements. So we have submitted it to the county and we're submitting it tonight for approval. So based on the changes in the 23-24 salary agreements and language agreements, these are the main impacts to the revised budget, which is what is changing from the adopted budget. So just as an overview, the board is going to be rescinding their adopted additional reserve for economic uncertainty of 1.25%, and that is the next agenda item. Which means the general fund to meet these changes in the budget is going to be reduced. The ending fund balance will be a 3% minimum reserve requirement. Also, for this fiscal year, for 24-25, It also will require a reduction of about $285,000 to meet this 3% minimum reserve with these changes from where we started in the budget this year. And then we always talk about the 2 years following. So these agreements will require the district to cut $880,000 in the next fiscal year based on today's budget. And that does not include the additional, which we've talked about, is the 9 FTE intervention teachers and 6 FTE of counselors, which are ending due to one-time funds. So this is sort of an overview of the impacts. And this is a busy sheet, so I'm just going to highlight the key components. And I think the first thing to do is to look at the very bottom where there's 2 red arrows. And the second column, as you can see, is called the 24-25 adopted budget. So that's what was adopted in June. And at the bottom of that, our ending fund balance reserve was 4.35%. And then if you go to the fourth column, it's our revised budget that we're bringing today. And the ending fund balance reserve is now at 3%. I'm not going to just switch back and forth, but for those of you who are looking, we have notes on everything. And so I'll go, the main things are in this document that it's important for you to know that revenues, there's total revenues, and actually in the budget revision, we've added $383,000 in revenues, which is good. This is a one-time funding county grant called Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, and we're using that, we can use that money for counselors to help fund our counselors. If you go back to total expenditures, the total expenditures in this revised budget are increasing by about 2.84 million. And that has to do, so what's in the revision is all the cost for the salary agreements based on certificated classified employee benefits, and then the reductions that will have to take place over time. And let me move on. If I'm not going to, if you have any questions, just go ahead. But so then we go to our multi-year projections, which is again part of the certification process we always have. And so now in our second column, we have the revised budget, which is our new district budget. And what we're showing is that we are going at that top arrow on the second column. This is the amount, again, about $285,000 we're going to have to cut in our budget. If you look on the bottom of the second column where it says board, it's the third. It's above the 3.00%. There is no longer any board adopted additional reserve for economic uncertainty, that 1.25%, it's zero. So our ending fund balance is 3%. If you go to the 25-26 budget column 3, again, there's a red arrow showing the $880,000 that will be cut additionally out of next year's budget. If you go towards the bottom, you can see there is zero put aside for the additional reserve for economic uncertainty, and it's at a 3%, which is the required minimum ending fund balance reserve. Taking a look at 26-27, our third year out, if you look at the bottom, the ending fund balance reserve is 4%, and that we do have 1% sitting in the additional board reserve for economic uncertainties. But if we wanted that to go back to 1.25%, we would have to make additional cuts. And again, this is all based on our adopted budget, which is now our revised budget. So as we've been talking about all along, this is very different from previous years in the district, the way we're looking at our budget. We are at a 3% required minimum reserve. That doesn't cover 1 month of payroll. And now we have to make cuts to meet the reserves. And we also have to monitor costs closely. So any new cost we have will either require new revenue or additional reduction. The state's fiscal conditions continues to face uncertainty and deficit spending. We are watching an enrollment and attendance very closely, and there is an attendance campaign underway, which is the way we would anticipate increasing revenues. We don't anticipate any one-time funds or anything changing in the state budget. Are there any questions?
Dr. Eaton, would you mind just kind of stating in your words what this means to us with the school district, with new spending and programs that we cherish?
Yeah, no, I think there's several things there. And I think Diane did a nice job of what's different for us is that in the past, we've had reserves. So if we had to add special education aides, if our enrollment or attendance didn't meet our projections, we could cover that, right, as we went forward. If we decided to add a program as we went forward, we could cover that. We're at a spot now where, because the percentage is right at what we have to hit legally for us to be approved as a budget, that if, for example, if we have students move in that require special education services that are more than the money that we get for them, we'll have to cover that some other way with some additional cuts. So I think what's really important is that the numbers that Diane showed at 285 and then the 800 and plus $1,000 in the second year, those aren't static numbers, and we're going to show you how those change each time. There's positive things that can happen in the district, right? We've seen an increase in students, so that could help us as we go forward. But we've also had to hire new staff for some of those students as well, and so we'll have to balance that out. If attendance goes up, right, we're in a place where our attendance is nearly 3 to 4% lower than it has been traditionally since the pandemic, right? And because we only get funded on students that attend, that means we're getting about $4 million less than we would have if this would have been pre-pandemic attendance. So it doesn't matter that we have to have spaces for all the students. The fact that they don't attend means that the school district loses money for that, and we have to make it up somehow. I think there's some things there that when we use the one-time money, and the board strategically spread that one-time money over several years from the pandemic to bring on additional counseling, to bring on intervention programs, right? The need for those isn't going to go away, but the funding is, and we don't have any funding to replace that. So that's a real challenge going forward. When we come to you and we say we have to cut those programs, it's not because we think they're not needed. It's not because we don't think the students need them. They do. And those people are doing a great job in the roles that they're in, and they're having a positive impact. But we simply won't have funding for that as we go forward unless something dramatically changes in the state. And we're not anticipating that at this point. We're being told not to anticipate it. So it's a big change for us as we go forward. One of the things that I think Diane's committed to doing is bringing you back at every significant budget meeting. So the next one in September will be the first interim update, right? Is Diane will bring, what did I say?
Unaudited actuals.
Or unaudited actuals, sorry, yeah. So unaudited actuals, first interim will follow that. But unaudited actuals will be in September, and she'll bring you back how that number's adjusted based on where we are now, based on how the books close, those sorts of things. But after that too, it'll be important for us to start a process where we're taking input from people on budget cuts going forward, right? Because both the 285 this year and the 800 plus next year will be real hard targets to hit without impacting kids and services. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, I will move that we approve the 2024-25 budget revisions, item 10.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next, 10.3, approval of resolution 2024-23.
Yes, this is a resolution to, as we talked about previously, to rescind the additional 1.25% ending fund balance reserve for economic uncertainties from the district general fund.
Move that we approve item 10.3, resolution number 2024-23.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next, we have public comment from Lisa Bustillos.
Move that we open public comment.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Great, thank you. I have my notes written here. This is for the tentative agreement for Brentwood Teachers Association. We know that there was a lot of complications in it. Most of that comes from our funding from the state. And so I really want to reach out and thank the board for rescinding the extra 1.25%, because I did hear with our members that that's one of the things that made a difference. It really showed that you're willing to work with us and take into account those things. And I kind of want to point that out going forward too, as we're going to start our new round of negotiations this year. A couple things, and based on what Diane said too. Last I heard, and I know that she can't comment right now, we were about 95% was our set in the budget for attendance, and about every 1.1% is about 1.2 million. So when we talk about cutting 285,000, if we can increase our attendance by 1%, we're bringing in that revenue again, and we're increasing it. And the teachers want to partner with you on that. We want to help. We want to be partners to this whole process. Last year, we started our budget committee. Our voice and our input is going to help us through this. And I want to state that that's always been my personal philosophy in this role since the beginning, is that we're partners that solve problems together. And sometimes we disagree, and we don't always, it's not always comfortable, but the uncomfortable things help us work towards the positive things. I just want to make sure I'm checking all my notes. Yeah, so I kind of think I covered it, that I just thank you. We're here as partners. We want our district to be well. You heard important teacher voices tonight, and we're here to make our district better. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 10.4, approval of tentative agreement, Brentwood Teachers Association. Oh,
Move that we close. I move that we close public comment.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next, 10.4, approval of tentative agreement, Brentwood Teachers Association.
Yeah, before you tonight, board, is the agreement with the Brentwood Teachers Association and a summary of all the articles. This encompasses the year and a quarter of negotiations, including salary, but also several other articles.
Good. Mr. Calabrese, so you want to just introduce the other four, since they're very similar, the other three, excuse me.
Absolutely. Along with that, the next one, 10.5, is confidential supervisory group. These are our secretaries and analysts that are here in the district office. 10.6 is management, which is our administrators out at our sites, as well as the district office. And then 10.7 is the contracted employees, which would be Diane, Dana, and myself.
Okay. I will start, move that we approve item 10.4, the tentative agreement with the Brentwood Teachers Association.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, 10.5, approval of tentative agreement, confidential supervisor group.
Move that we approve item 10.5, the tentative agreement with the confidential supervisory group.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Move that we approve item 10.6, the tentative agreement with the management employee group.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
And finally, we approve item 10.7, the compensation agreement with contracted employees.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Good job.
all right, next is 10.8, Measure B update.
I can cast.
You have it?
Sure.
Thanks. I just didn't set it that one up. So we wanted to provide a Measure B update, and
John Navarro is going to be joining us
Hello, John.
from the Cummings Group, formerly our GM Kramer. And thank you, Dana.
New name, same face. Yeah.
So The Measure B update, as Dana shared with you, the exciting part is the opening of, Isaac R. Montañez School, which opened the first day of school. So we have many photos to share with you, and then John can add some comments. As you can see, this is the main entrance. The sign went up, the Isaac R. Montañez sign was going up the Thursday before school started. It was fun to watch them putting that up. And then, as you can see, here's our play yard view of the back. And there's 2 play structures on the padded turf for the large playground. And this is the lower grade play area. And you can see all the classrooms along that one wing. And they have the good news is there's a very large shade structure for the 1 through 5 kids to eat lunch next to the play yard. And then you can see there's also a smaller shade structure for the lower grades, the TK, K. And then this is the inside. And I just want to say, the design team had already been long in process by the time I arrived a year ago, and all the colors that were chosen, Twee was on that team and many other people. It's just really exciting to see how well it all came together. And the kitchen, as you know, it's fully equipped. It has 2 serving lines. This was taken the first day of school when they were setting up. And here you have the library. You can't see, but in the far right corner, there's these cushy little stools that kids can sit on and have a little reading corner. It's just really versatile, and a lot can go on in that large area. It has really beautiful windows on the all along one wall. And here's our administrative offices, which, again, you can't really see from this photo, but the counter looks really great. Everything's well constructed. All the furniture is in. I mean, it's very exciting. Here's the teachers moved in starting the week before, and they also came in on weekends to get their classes ready. It was really exciting to come in for those of many people who've been watching this progress all along, to see the colored carpets. There was a teacher who had Play-Doh on every desk and all these little stencils and stickers. So it was very exciting. And here's, they had for all the students who came, I think it was the Parents Club who put this together, that you could get your picture taken before you went out to the playground. And here's our principal, Danielle Dobbin, with Uma, the secretary, who probably has tracked about 5,000 miles getting the school ready to open, really both of them. Parents and students, it's hard to see in this photo, but there's a lot of kids on the playground. This is the first day. Here you go. This is one of our teachers with Ike Montañez in the back of the playground before school started. And there's John Navarro with his former teacher on the first day, and it was really wonderful. Yeah, Dana had him there for a long time, and it was just so exciting. The multi-purpose room will be turned over to us we used it for back to school night, but the sort of the surrounding area and the stage aren't complete, so that will be turned over to us 100% complete within about 2 weeks. That is the last piece of the TK through 5 preschool area that has not been finished. And then there's just a few pictures of the middle school where it's being worked on now that the TK through 5 is open. Again, you've seen pictures of the gym before, but you can see the beautiful beams that are up there. And then I thought John could just make a few comments about, the Montañez project.
Yeah, I just think it's been a great team effort, getting the school wrapped up. It's been very crazy and busy out there. We it was a pretty quick timeline to turn it around. And, we had to hold off staff from coming in and teachers, until we get all the furniture in. And just everybody has been going through very positive. It's been a great environment. Everybody rolling with the completion items and the imperfections and, the little items that got to be fixed along the way. But it's been a very positive experience. And I think from the staff and the parents that were coming through, we've got a lot of good feedback. And I think if we could just finish up the middle school here in the next, couple months, we can turn over the whole site to the district and get away from the construction and just be doing the education.
Are those big old beams glue lambs, not steel?
Yeah, they're glue lamb beams. Yeah.
Why instead of steel? I'm just curious.
Well, it's a design build project, so the entity has the option of doing it any way they feel is the best, most economical way. And this design team chose the glue lamb beams. So there's other methods, but in this economy, the wood construction still seems to be the most efficient and economical. You go back 15, 20 years ago, almost everything was going with steel. So it changes with the market.
A lot of floors to polish.
Yeah.
A lot. But I was able to go out and watch too in the drop off, and you really have put that all together. And it's over the bus turnaround. It's just all working well, and it's been well organized and pushed, and it's good to see. So.
Yeah, the next few weeks when the city finishes the road work and for the school, it's going to even make it that much better. So it's working fine with the current population with half the road. And when it gets fully opened, it's going to be that much better.
Not too many upset drivers.
And there was just one more slide that just at Bristow Middle School Theater, we completed some additional cabinetry in some of the rooms that didn't have everything they needed, which was an additional, but it was a small project. And also the PE offices got a remodel as well as part of the bond work. And that's the end of the Measure B presentation.
All right. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you for all of your work. You're welcome.
All right. Next, 10.9, District Summer Programs Update.
Oops. Good evening, Board of Education. Ms. Justine Melendez and I are here to share about some of our summer programs that happened this past summer. So we had, oops, I clearly can't work this thing today. We had 3 distinct different programs, and Justine's going to talk about ESY to get us started.
So extended school year ESY, sorry. Get me through.
Let's try yours. Oh, that's way better. ESY stands for Extended School Year, and you're eligible per your IEP. You have to demonstrate regression and recoupment. So not all eligible students are eligible for ESY, but a good portion are. So we had about a little over 200 students attend, and it's driven by their IEP goals. So they focus on their IEP goals during extended school year. It's a shortened day. It's a 4-hour day for that 19 to 20 days. It was about exactly 20, I think. We were at Brentwood L. We had 2 different principals. Matthew Jensen, who was a VP at Loma, was the principal for the first couple of weeks. And then our program specialist, Christy Sanchez, was the principal for the last couple of weeks. And it was a great success. We had really great attendance. The kids had fun. Staff really enjoyed it. Christy really wrapped it up very well. And we had kind of a little celebration on the last day that I have some pictures that we'll show you. So it went really well.
The other program we had this summer was the continuation of our ELAP program, Extended Learning. And Ms. Maria Gonzalez was our principal, along with Kelly Ayotte. And this is a continuation of students who attend during intersession. It's available TK through 6. We housed it at MCB, and this was a 8:30 to 5:30 program where approximately 180 plus students participated, with 20 plus staff members from right at school. The other program we had is our Summer Academy, which was focused on math, as we have been typically doing for grades 2 through 5. Also at MCB with the same team of admin and secretarial support. And this was June 11th through the 28th for approximately 3 hours a day. We had 96 students, of which about a third of them were on IEPs, but did not qualify for extended school year. Just to highlight, Summer Academy is based on, we identify students that there are lowest scoring students on our IXL, which is our math software program, and we use that to identify these students.
Students for extended school year are identified as I said, based on regression and recoupment. So the easiest way to say that is, do you regress to a point that you do not recoup at the rate of your neurotypical peers? So everybody's going to regress when you're not in school. We expect that. So the question is, if given the first 2 weeks of school, will you kind of bounce back at the rate that other students would? Most students who receive ISP services, like very minimal pull-out services, do bounce back like we expect them to, but some of our more impacted students, like our mod severe students, and some of our more mild mod, they struggle to bounce back because it takes longer to regain what they lose over a school break. It's those kids who are eligible for ESY.
And as I mentioned before, the ELAB students are just a continuation of those participating during intersession. Lunch and transportation were available to students. Our Summer Academy students were engaged and provided it very hands-on in what we call a low floor, high ceiling. So students who are struggling can reach down and still learn, but there's lots of room to explore in math and grow. And we really felt like that small class size helped with teachers. It was well under 20 students per class.
So we keep ESY fun for students. It's definitely focused on primarily the IEP goals and social, emotional, language production. It's a kind of a lower stress, but definitely focused on fun. So there was water play, and then we also did water play weekly, and we did a tropical spirit day on the last day, and we brought in a snow cone truck, which you'll see pictures of, but they loved it. We had a great day, took lots of cute pictures, and all of our providers, so we have special ed teachers who are the ESY teachers. We had a behaviorist, an occupational therapist, speech language therapist. We have all of our related service providers come in, and then all of the paras who support the kids too were present.
Just echoing some thank yous to the admin team, the custodians, and just the school for making space for us to be able to engage in these programs.
Yeah, and here's some of the pictures. That top one is a donut eating contest. He's eating a donut. And then the snow cone truck you can see, and kids just having fun. There's one more picture too from the snow cone truck. You can go forward. And then it was really fun. It kind of went all day, and kids could come in rounds. If you've never seen the snow cone truck, you get like just plain shaved ice, and then you can pick the different flavors. There's like 10 different flavors. And it was really cool to just see kids who use alternative augmentative communication devices who are nonverbal asking for their color and their flavor with their device. So it was super meaningful for them, and they had fun.
Any questions for us?
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Next, 10.10, BUSD Board Priority Goal Update, Attendance.
Okay, so let's start passing them.
All right. Well, good evening, board, again. Would love to share a little bit about our first board priority goal to share this school year, which will be attendance. Once again, can you hear me? Is this working? All right. So we're going to be talking about attendance, which is our second in our line here, but doesn't mean that it's not prioritized in that manner. It's just our green one, which right now we've been talking a lot tonight about attendance, and that green is actually the perfect color for attendance right now. Also that our children are attending and learning and feeling connected. So as many reasons that we want our children to be attending. So the reason that the bullets that we have here shared for attendance are that we want to communicate the importance of regular attendance. Really, we're talking about just bombarding our families with communication about why it's important to attend school, reducing that chronic absenteeism, and providing levels of support for families as well. So importance of attendance is so critical. It really is, it indicates how well a child will have those future outcomes more than anything else, is how well a child attends school. And of course, when our kids are sick, we don't want them to be attending school, but because they don't feel like coming or they want to be playing a video game or something instead is not a reason that they should not be attending school. So this is just some data from the last couple of years on our the chronic absentee data that we received from the state, and we'll be getting this again in a few more months to see what kind of progress we've made. But last year we were able to reduce our chronic absentee rate by 6%, and our goal is to reduce that by another 6%. So it was really high. 2 years ago we were at 25%, then we reduced it to 19%. So our goal is to reduce it by another 6%. But like Dana talked about, prior to the pandemic, this was not even an issue for us. We were only at 6%. So this is really still definitely a very high level. This is also a national issue. It's a statewide issue. We're all dealing with this and trying to reduce this chronic absenteeism. A student is considered chronically absent when they have missed 10% of the days that they are enrolled in a class. So our goals that are in the LCAP for our district are that we would like to increase our attendance by another 1% this next year. So that would be from 94.5% to 95.5%. And then to reduce the chronic absenteeism by another 6% down to 13%. So that is our specific goal. So what we're doing about that is the site level is doing really a three-pronged approach. They are definitely tracking that attendance, being really clear about that data that they have. They're doing a lot of outreach to families when they are concerned about a student. That is happening, like Lisa was saying too, the teachers really meeting the kids where they are at the student level, the family level. Administrators, everybody reaching out to those children and making sure that they are seeing what is going on with that child. How can we help you? What supports do we already have at our school that we can meet your needs? And then having those school attendance review teams at the site level to help to intervene at that lowest level. And then finding the incentives. We see all sorts of incentives that are happening at every school site. They're doing an amazing job with those. So I wanted to show you, our vice principals were just meeting yesterday about this. And so I wanted to share with you, it's not casting, I didn't cast it correctly. I will do so though. Hold on. Okay, so now you can see this on the screens this is one of the trackers that, this is a great one. I believe this is from Brentwood L that is used. And I like this because it has different colors because it helps to really see where the child is getting to a different level of how many absences has that child had. When are we getting to that point of really being very concerned, outreach, calling, making sure that you have a meeting with that family, pulling them in. And that's really important to make sure that we're doing every level of communication and intervention for a student. So we're keeping that data and that outreach all in one very clear space. So this was shared with all the vice principals. Another level here is the attendance success plan. This was shared from Adams Middle School. And Abby shared that this is a success plan that can be shared for a student. It's the child then is able to share, this is what I would like to achieve. And this is what I'm going to do to commit. The student signs it. They also have a help bank. Who is going to help me in this process? My family. Who's going to, if I have trouble getting to school, who can I call? Who are my contact numbers? This would be obviously for a little bit older student, but they have them for younger students too. What can I do to make sure I get there? And then also she shares with the student, takes out the school calendar. What are the days you've already missed? So it's already very clear to that child, this is the days I've been here, this is what I've been late, this is the classes I've missed and how often. And they see it really, that nice visual of how much time they're already missing. So that really helps that student to make a real commitment to themselves of I was present this many days, but what am I going to do about that in the future going forward? So those are very clear, specific things that school sites are doing. And then we are, the district level, our plan this year is to really send out, we've already sent out one, the end of last year and the beginning of this year, some flyers to families and giving them a calendar as well. Like, please plan your vacations around our very nice schedule that we have, but also to clearly encourage families to be coming to school. Why attendance is important, the incentives that we have, and then we have the school attendance review board. However, we know, and that's a great asset if we need that tool, but we know that the real relationship building and support is best at the school site. Here's just some pictures. I was talking about the competition and the incentives. This is last year when there was a trophy that had to be taken from one person to another. I love that. Our principals love the trophies and incentives. And then I borrowed this, Nick, from you. I saw this on your, I think you put it on the Twitter, but it was a picture of how you are every week. The first grade or the kindergarten, whoever is in first place, you guys are definitely highlighting that. I think that's great that each grade level is competing for the best attendance. That's awesome. And then how we're measuring it, we're just by daily, weekly, monthly. We are definitely keeping track of how much attendance we're keeping because we know that is a huge factor in how much of our children are achieving. And also that's how we collect our ADA. I'll have to look at Diane, she'll let me know. So this is last year's compared 22-23 and 23-24, our ADA per school site. And you can see that there was about a 1% increase at every school site. So we did achieve that goal last year, and we'd like to do that again. We will do it again, and we'd like to even get further though. So we really just want our kids to be at school. And that is our attendance update for today.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Quick question. At what point of the year does the state register our attendance and base our funding on?
So, great question. So, there's two components, the enrollment and then the ADA attendance. So, enrollment is certified on one day. It's the first Wednesday of October. So, that's the enrollment. The ADA, the average daily attendance, is tracked every single day through the middle of April. And it's reported at 3 different time periods, in January, in the very beginning of May, and then at the end of June. So we're certified on what's called P2. It's through that April period when they take a look at what is the total ADA for that hold for every single day up through that time period. And then it's that calculation between the enrollment and how many kids were in school in the seat.
Thank you. Email, do you have anything? Okay. All right. Thank you, Kirsten. Next, 10.11, approval of provisional intern permits.
Yeah, what you have before you is what we call our PIPs, provisional intern permits. These folks are teachers for us that are working on their credential, and this is a provisional intern permit that allows us to have them to be the teacher of record in a classroom.
Now, we've done these many times, and I move that we approve item 10.11, the approval of provisional intern.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. 10.12, approval of administrative services waiver.
Somewhat similar, but for administrators, we have 2 administrators that are working on their credential, and so this is a waiver to allow them to be administrators in the district.
I move that we approve item 10.12, approval of administrative services waiver.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. 10.13, approval of speech language pathologist waiver.
Again, similar to the other waivers, this one is for a speech and language pathologist that is working on her credential.
Move that we approve item 10.13, the speech and language pathologist waiver.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. 10.14, approval workplace violence prevention plan.
This is a new law from the state of California and went to effect July 1st. So this is our workplace violence prevention plan. It encompasses the work done by student services for ALICE training and an intruder on campus, as well as working with Brentwood PD, but it also encompasses the work that the safety walks that get done, ensuring that gates lock, fences around campuses, things like that, as well as what to do when there is violence in the workplace, whether that's between a visitor or between employees.
Move that we approve item 10.14, the workplace violence prevention plan.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And next, 10.15, approval of the 2025-2026 district goals timeline.
Yeah, I know we're just getting started and just talking about the goals this year, but this time every year we talk about our plan for coming back and updating you on the goals that you've laid out as your board priority goals, as well as how we start to gather and develop our goals for the following year. And so you have a timeline laid out for you that starts back in June from this year of when the budget and current goals were adopted and goes all the way through the year for that. And so we ask that you accept and adopt that tonight.
I move that we approve item 10.15, approval of the 25-26 district goals timeline.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And next one is 10.16, approval of updated independent study board policy, administrative regulation 6158.
Yes, so when the enacted budget by Governor Newsom was signed on June 9th of this year, it included an education trailer bill language, which made several changes to independent study that became effective immediately. Statutes. And so that is why tonight we brought the board policy and AR forward as not as we usually do with the other as a group item, because this has to be updated right away.
To expedite item 10.16, I move that we approve for the updated independent study board policy administration regulation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And do we have any board member comments for in future agenda items?
Not at this time.
No.
No? Okay. All right. So 12.0, the next regular board meeting will be held on September 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well. All right.